Hello, we are back, and we are talking about time value of money. Do any of you like time value of money? It's kind of a nice, refreshing topic to step away from maybe the book for a little bit, step away from PowerPoints for a little bit. So, like I said, 12, 13, and 15, the chapters can be a little bit dry. So this is kind of always a nice little oasis in the desert, so to speak. How did you all do on your homework? Grand. Let's go over the answers, okay? Let's go over the answers. And you can just show the answers while I talk. Okay, I think, did we go over 2 of these answers in class?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Okay. So there are the answers to number 1 and number 2, okay? Always ask yourself, step back after you solve the problem and ask yourself, is this a reasonable answer? Okay? Now, one of the mistakes that people make on the test is they'll get in a hurry on that table and they will pull the wrong number off of there. Okay? So, make sure you pull the right one. Okay, now, number 3, would you rather have $500 now or $1,000 10 years from now? You can earn 9% on any investment. Come off that for a second if you would. So they're saying, would you rather have $500 in year 0 right now or $1,000 in 10 years? Well, you can't compare those because they're at different times, right? You can solve this answer in 2 ways. You can either take that 500 and figure out the future value of it and then compare them. Did anybody do that? Okay. Or what I did is you can find the present value of the $1,000 10 years from now, bring it back and compare it there. So that's what I did down here. Okay. I said I found the present value of the $1,000. The present value of the $1,000 in 10 years, the present value today is $422.40. Well, that's obviously less than $500, so you'd rather have the $500 now. You with me? Okay. All right, any questions on 1 through 3? Okay. All right, let's go through number 4. Okay. Today you deposited $1,000 in a savings account paying 5% interest. How much should you have in 10 years? Okay. Well, here we have the present value, but we need to know F. We need to know the future value. Is that correct? So the future value is $1628.93. Reasonable. Okay. Can you see how this sort of thing could be useful for like retirement planning or situations like that? Okay. Number 5, the average price of a new home is $188,500. If new homes are increasing at a rate of 6% per year, how much will a new home cost in 8 years? Did you get $300,446.29? I don't mind if you're off by, a little bit there. Sometimes people will be off by $80,000 and they'll go, I think that's a rounding error. I go, no, I don't think that's a rounding error. I think that's a U error, okay? So, any questions on number 5? Okay, let's go to number 6. An average new textbook at your college costs $150 in today's dollars. Okay? If textbooks are increasing at a rate of 5% a year, how much will a textbook cost in 25 years? Okay? Well, that's how much you need to tell your kids to save up for each one of their textbooks, if that's the rate of increase, isn't it? Did you get $507.96? Okay, cool. All right, number 7. Nobody ever gets number 7 right. You will receive $10,000 in 6 years. What's the present value that you need to deposit today if the annual interest rate is 10% and interest is compounded semi-annually? Okay. Come off that if you would. Anybody get an answer here? Jeremiah. What'd you get?
I got $2,822.50. It seemed kind of low, but
It's a good try, and I'm glad you used the reasonableness test, but it's not correct. Creighton.
3,186.
Did anybody else get 3186? Okay, that's wrong too. But thank you for trying. Okay, Luke.
7,513.
7513?
Yeah.
That's wrong too. It's wrong too. Okay. Did anybody else get a different answer? Okay. Here's the deal with this deal. First of all, what does semi-annual mean?
Twice a year.
Twice a year or every 6 months. So if the annual rate is 10% and interest is compounded semi-annually every 6 months, if the annual rate is 10%, what's the semi-annual interest rate?
5.
5%. So the I that you should use is 5%.
12 times.
Okay? And you are right, Jeremiah. And if we're saying 5% for every 6 months, well, how many 6-month periods are there in 6 years? 12. So the N you should use is 12. The I you should use is 5%. Okay? So that's why when I defined that table, that's why when I defined the table that looked like this, that I didn't say N equals the number of years. I said N equals the number of periods. Okay? Because in this situation, the number of periods is a 6-month period. With me? Or maybe I said that wrong. In this instance, N does not equal the number of years, but the number of 6-month periods. Cool? All right? Any questions on that? No questions? Okay. The table we used for this, guys, the table that we used for this is this one right here. Okay? And it is the table B1, present value of 1. And I just wrote P of F in there, and it's on page B10 in your book at the very end, okay? I know there's some other tables back there. Don't worry about those until and unless I talk to you about them, okay? All right, cool? So, nobody has asked me the question everybody always asks about those tables. What's the question?
Are they accurate?
Well, yeah, they are accurate.
How do you come up with those numbers? Like, how do you come up with so this is saying for everything, like for the future value of money, everything at 6% over 2 periods.
Well,
maybe by that number.
Well, what they do is, if you look at this equation up here at the top right, all they did was plug in the interest rate and the I and the N for each of those columns, and figured out that number. Okay. So what I want you to do as a homework assignment, though, is to verify those numbers. I'm just kidding. You don't have to do that. That'd be a really long assignment. You haven't asked me the question everybody always asks, and that is, do you get the table on the test? Okay. Do I provide you that table?
So.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
one class years ago, though, I told him, I said, no, I'm going to have you memorize the tables. And I had him going the whole hour. I told him, I said, it's not that big a deal, guys. Just learn 2 columns a day, and the next day learn the next 2 columns. And then they were like all upset. So one kid who didn't speak the whole semester, when I said that, he goes, "Say what?" And that was all he said the whole semester. So I will provide you these tables. Okay? All right. Now we're going to do something new. All right? Here's what I want to do. Brady and Luke, you're group 1. Okay? You 3 guys are group 2. You 3 are group 3. You 3 are group 4. So everybody know their group number? Huh? Yeah, very good. Okay. You're a good rememberer. Okay. Let me give you what each group to do. Okay. Now, for each group, for each group, I'm going to make I equal to 5%, okay? I equals 5% for each group, okay? Group 1, here is what I want you to do. How much do I need to deposit today if I want to withdraw $1,000 1 year from now? Okay, go ahead and solve that, Group 1, okay? Group 2, how much do I need to deposit today if I want to withdraw $1,000 2 years from now? Okay, that's your problem. Group 3, how much do I need to deposit today if I want to withdraw $1,000 3 years from now? And group 4, you can probably guess yours, how much do I need to deposit today if I want to withdraw $1,000 4 years from now? And for you folks at home, hey, get a little extra practice. Just solve each one of these. It won't take that long, okay? Let's just roll that music real quick if we can. Won't be too long, but let's go ahead and roll the music. Okay, we're back. That wasn't too hard, was it? I'm not going to solve each one, but the way that you would solve this would be to say P equals F, P slash F, I in. We need to know the present value. You put in $1,000. P slash F, what's the interest rate? And then whatever row you were or group you were in, right? So, what I am asking the first group, let's take a look at it first. I'm saying, let me zoom in there, and if I start writing and it's not on there, tell me. How much do I need to deposit today if I want to withdraw $1,000 in 1 year? Okay. What answer did you get, Group 1?
952.40.
Say that again, 942?
952.40.
952.40?
Yes.
Right there. Okay. All right. Okay, cool. All right, second group, I'm asking you, how much do I need to deposit today if I want to withdraw $1,000 2 years from now? So that would be right here, correct? Mm-hmm. All right. Your present value equals what? Now, first of all, before you give me the answer, would we expect this number to be higher or lower than our previous answer? Lower, right. That's correct, because it has more time to grow, correct? More time to build interest. Okay. All right, so what did you get, Group 2?
907.
907?
Yep.
Exactly?
Yep.
Okay. 907 and 0 cents. Good. Okay. All right, group 3. What I'm basically asking you is how much do I need to deposit today if I want to withdraw $1,000? Year 3. Okay. So, group 3. Henry, what'd you get?
863.8.
863.80?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. All right, group 4. What I'm asking you is how much do I need to deposit today if I want to withdraw $1,000 year 4? And your present value is, Michael?
822.70.
822.70. Okay? Everybody got what we did? And remember, the interest rate was 5% for each one of these situations. Cool? Okay. Any questions on that? That was fun, wasn't it? Okay. Now I want to ask you another question. Okay? And this question is this. How much do I need to deposit today if I want to withdraw $1,000 at the end of each of the next 4 years? So what that timeline would look like is this. How much do I need to deposit today if I want to withdraw $1,000 at year 1, $1,000 at year 2, $1,000 at year 3, and $1,000 at year 4? Okay? That's the question. Now, read that over, take a look at that timeline. Okay? How much do I need to deposit today if I want to draw $1,000 at the end of each of the next 4 years? What I want you to realize is that this timeline and this question is really the total of all these 4 timelines if we squished them together. Does that make sense? Oh, by the way, I should say this. This is very important. I equals 5%. Okay? If I want to know how much I need to deposit today, if I want to withdraw $1,000 at the end of each of the next 4 years, isn't that going to be the total of these 4 answers added together? I don't see the light bulb going on. Is it going on?
Yeah, because you get $1,000 each year on that one.
Yeah. Think about it this way. I need to have that. I would pay that much for something that would pay me $1,000 in 1 year, interest rate 5%. I would pay this much for something that would instead give me $1,000 in 2 years at that interest rate. I would pay this much today for something that would give me $1,000 in 3 years at 5%. And I would pay this much for something that would give me $1,000 in 4 years at interest rate of 5%. So what would I give for something that would do all of that? Pay $1,000 at each of the end of the next 4 years. Wouldn't that be the total of those 4 numbers? Okay, so somebody get out a calculator and let's add up these 4 numbers in purple. Okay, add those numbers up. If you're at home, add those up. Okay. Now, what was the sum of those 4 numbers?
3545.90.
3545. Is that it? Is that what you said? Okay, that's what I got too. The sum of these 4 numbers is 354590. So the answer to this question, is 0.354590. Cool? Does that make sense why that's the answer? Now, there's an easier way to do this. There's an easier way to do this. And you can see how you can solve this problem by just doing 4 P of F problems, correct? But that gets a little old. What if I wanted to ask, what if the question was, how much do I need to deposit today if I want to withdraw $1,000 at the end of each of the next 20 years? Well, you don't want to do 20 P of F problems, do you? Okay, so let's talk about a better way to do this, okay? A better way to do this, and let me define some new terms for you, okay, is we are going to talk about present value of an annuity. Present value of an annuity, okay? We're going to use the letter A to signify annuity, okay? A equals annuity. And what is an annuity? Well, first of all, it might have a different definition if you've taken an investment course or some other course. But annuity in this topic means a recurring cash flow of the same amount. A recurring cash flow of the same amount. So, in this one right here, what we were doing, what was the annuity? What amount was it? Yes, A equaled $1,000 in this previous example. Okay? All right? Now, okay, P still equals the present value. I still equals the interest rate. And in that problem that we were doing, what was the interest rate? 5%. But now, let's tweak N a little bit. N equals a little something different when we're talking about present value of an annuity. N equals the number of occurrences of the annuity, okay? So, for the example that we did before, this question right here, what does N equal? N equals 4, right? Because the annuity happens 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? So, what we're going to do is we're going to set this problem up like this. P equals A, P slash A, I, N, okay? P equals A, P slash A, I, N. Okay, now let's resolve this same problem right here using my new way, okay? Okay, present value is what we're trying to come up with, right? You correctly said what was our annuity in this amount? $1,000. Now we're going to go to a different table that I'll show you in a second. We are going to go to a P of A, a present value of an annuity table, and we're going to look under the column of I and the row of N. Now you said correctly that the interest rate equals 5%. Is that correct? And what did you say correctly was our N? 4. So our present value in this instance, $1,000, we're going to go to the P of A table, 5%, 4. Okay? All right, well, where is that? Well, let's look again at the P of F table. Remember P of F table? Table B1 on page B10, present value of 1. Okay. If you have your book and you move it over to the right, I think, you'll see table B3, okay? And this says present value of an annuity of 1. Just go ahead and write in your book P/A. You with me? Okay? Those are the only two tables we're going to utilize in this class, okay? And again, this is all an introduction to time value of money, all right? It's an introduction to time value of money. But that's our P of A table. So going back to this problem, our present value equals our annuity of 1,000. P of A, go to the P of A table, look in the column of 5% and the row of 4. What is the value that we're going to multiply by 1,000? What'd you get? Somebody?
3.546.
3.546. Is that correct? And it's right there, 5% 4, okay, on the P of A table, table B3, okay? Well, I can do this one in my head. 1,000 times 3.5460 equals $3,546. Now, is that what we got when we did this previously? It's close enough. Okay? It's close enough. You with me? Now, this way was a lot easier, wasn't it? Okay? Was a lot easier. Okay, questions on that? We're going to do one here in a second. Okay, what I want you to do now is let's look back at our original problem. How much do I need to deposit today if I want to withdraw 1,000 at the end of each of the next 4 years? Interest rate is 5%. We'll maintain that interest rate. But now I want you to do the whole thing, except I want you to not say 4 years, but rather 20 years. Okay? The next 20 years. How much do I need to deposit today if I want to withdraw $1,000 at the end of each of the next 20 years? Interest rate equals 5%. Play that music, and we'll come back here in about, 30, 45 seconds. You folks at home do it too. Okay, let's come back to it. How much do I need to deposit today if I want to withdraw $1,000 at the end of each of the next 20 years? Well, once again, this is P equals A, P/A, I, N. We want to know present value. Our annuity is still $1,000, correct? Now we're going to go to our P of A table. Our I is 5%, and what does our N equal? 20. Okay? So P of A, 5%, 20. I've memorized these tables, but I'll go ahead and let you look at them. Start memorizing this one too. I'm kidding. Okay? P of A, 5%, 20. Did you get 12.4622? Times 1,000. And then that equals what? 12,000.
Scoot it up.
Thank you. $12,462.20. Is that what you got? Mm-hmm. Is that a reasonable answer?
Yeah.
I think it is. Okay. Everybody get that? Did you get that, Henry? Lindsay? Yeah? Okay, cool. Let's do another one. Okay? Let's do another one. Let's switch over to the computer real quick. And let's do this one. If I have $3,000 today, how much can I withdraw at the end of each of the next 10 years if the interest rate is 3%? Let's go ahead and play the music for about 30 seconds and let's solve for that. Okay, let's go over the answer. In this instance, we know our present value, correct? Oops, I need to switch things. In this instance, we know our present value, and that is what? $3,000. We want to know our annuity, how much we can withdraw at the end of each of the next 10 years. Okay, so we're going to go to our P of A table. Our interest rate is 3%. And our N is what? 10? Is that what you got? 3,000 equals A times, from my memory of that table, I got 8.5302. Is that what you got? 8.5302. So now I take 3,000, not multiplied by, but divided by 8.5302. And what'd you all get?
351.69.
$351.69. Did you get that?
Yep.
Everybody get that? Okay, cool. Questions on that? Okay, let's come off that for a second. Couple of things. I know in your book you've probably got 4 tables. You got table B1, B2, B3, and B4. We are only going to use tables B1 and B3 in this class. Okay? Table B1 is the P of F table, present value of 1. Table B3 is the P of A table, present value of an annuity of 1. If and when you take a corporate finance class, you will delve deeper into this subject, and you'll be glad we at least introduced it. Okay? The other thing is sometimes people say, I can't figure out which of these tables to use. Is it a P of F problem or is it a P of A problem? Okay? Well, here's what I would say. If nothing else, just make your timeline. Okay? Make your timeline. Okay? If it's like this is year 1, this is year 2, this is year 3, this is year 4. If they're talking about amount right here and they're talking about amount, you know, like way in the future, just one amount way in the future, that's a P of F problem, okay? But if instead they're talking about some amount right here and then some amount that comes at the end of each of, whenever you see that those keywords like at the end of each of, then that is a P of A problem. Does that make sense, guys? Cool? Okay, what I want to do now is I want to start working. We won't get through the whole thing, but again, let's at least maybe get through the first couple so we can check our answers. Let me put this down. So this entire handout, front and back, there's a total of 6 questions, will be your homework. Let's go ahead and start working on this. Note that this first one actually has 2 different answers, so you need to do 2 different problems. one for each of those interest rates. So while they're playing that music, let's go ahead and work on handout number 2 for even more time value of money problems. Okay? Okay, you're probably not done, but let's go ahead and go over the first few answers to see if you got those right. Okay, so the first one says if you invest $10,000 today, how much would you be willing to withdraw at the end of each of the next 5 years if the interest rate's 5%? What if instead the interest rate is 8%? So you actually have two different problems, two different answers, right? And I think this would make sense that your amount would be higher with the higher interest rate, correct? You'd be able to withdraw more if it is earning higher interest, correct? Okay, so do you guys get those two answers? Yep. Okay. Now, remember to ask yourself the reasonableness test. Remember how I talked about confusion? Sometimes people don't know whether to use the P of F or the P of A table. If they use the wrong table, a lot of times their answer that they get will not be reasonable. And so that could be a sign as well. Okay? And then for the second one, certain investment will pay you $1,500 at the end of each of the next 20 years. If interest rates are 6%, how much would you be willing to pay for this type of investment? Did you guys get 17,204.85? Yeah. Cool? All right. Okay, you can come off that. All right. So what I want you to do for homework is to do your entire handout number 2. I believe there's a total of 6 questions on it. Okay? Not much homework tonight. Next class period, we're going to catch up on something real quick from chapter 15, those last few slides that we never went over in chapter 15 in regards to international foreign transactions. Okay? I think international foreign is a little bit redundant. Okay? And we're also going to start chapter 14, bonds. Okay? So you folks at home, make sure you have chapter 14 printed out. We'll do both of those things next time. So all you need to do for homework is this time value money handout number 2. And remember, you folks at home online as well, and you folks here, did anybody do that Connect assignment that's read page 529 to 531 or whatever? Did anybody do that yet? Nobody? Bunch of go-getters here, huh? Okay. Well,
What's Connect?
Connect assignment on you folks at home do this as well. It's just 4 pages you read, and you just do the Connect assignment over it. Read page 529 to 531 or whatever. Okay. So go ahead and do that Connect assignment tonight as well, since you don't have much homework. This won't take too long. Any other questions? See you guys later.